everybody, it's Thea. Welcome back to Garden Goddess Tarot. And today, I'm going to talk about my most used tarot decks of 2024. And Oracle. This is most used decks. This is most used decks full stop. Sorry, I'm just going to clear the space a little bit. Because I can. Let's just get you in the space. Welcome. Big welcome. Big welcome to this video. We're just going to talk about decks. We're just going to go through them. I've been keeping kind of track each month of the decks that I kind of use the most, and I've written them down in my little journal. And it's always kind of surprising because, like, if you ask me right now what deck I use the most, like last March, I got nothing. But writing it down was kind of like, wow, okay, I could really see the trends for things. And this probably for some of you, if you pay close attention, it will be not surprising whatsoever. But there's some, I don't know, there might be. I don't know. We'll see. That's the plan for today. So let me just shove this coffee in my face. And we're gonna get down to business. We're gonna talk about the decks that I use the most, which I think is a good, like, instead of favorite, I may like one a lot, but only use it a couple times. But if I use them lots, then I just feel like that says more things, has more oomph, carries more weight, you know? Okay, so we'll start off, where will we start? Let's start off with the super predictable ones because I cannot stop talking about them. And I think technically that makes this one the most used of the whole year. It's the Helios Tarot, guys. I can't stop, won't stop. On my list of months, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of the months I wrote it down as my most used deck, which is kind of a reflection of my tarot use of last year also. But I pull a weekly card with this every week, usually Mondays. And I was assuming it was going to be a practice that I continue into next year, but currently I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. But I've been using this. This is by Chris Leach, Welkin Press. It's a Greek mythology themed tarot decks, and he just, as a complete surprise, launched a Kickstarter for an Oracle deck that's like a companion to this with Greek mythology in it. So I've been so busy lately. I want to sit down and have a look at the campaign and just kind of see what's going on there. There's so many things on Kickstarter right now. When Olga Speaks is finally kickstarting as well. So if you actually, there's about 10 days left of that right now. The Oracle deck, which is actually, tangents already? Oh, I'm so sorry. I just need to mention this really quick. When Olga Speaks by Sasha is finally kickstarting as well. There's about 10 days left of it. So if you've been on the, not the waiting list, but if you've been waiting around for this one to finally kickstart, I'll put the link to it down below as well. I use this one an absolute ton, so we may talk about it also. I didn't write it on the list though. I kind of pull it out sporadically because she's punchy. I do use it a lot though. Yeah, this is When Olga Speaks. Amazing Oracle deck. So yeah, for those that know, you know. And it is finally, the real legit official copy is coming out. This was a Make Playing Cards, not really a prototype because I bought it, but she put it up on Make Playing Cards just to, you know, get it out into the world. So I bought it then, but the actual On Good Wonderful cardstock in box with wonderful written guidebook is coming as well. Oh, and Annie Fair is pre-ordering Daydreaming in Situ as well. Sorry, there's lots of updates as well. So all the information for those, if you've been waiting patiently to get those in your hands, they're available. Link them down below. Not sponsored in any way. I feel like I've been promising to share updates on them and they're all happening at once. So just thought I'd throw that out there for the regulars. But back to the Helios Tarot. I use this every week and it was amazing and phenomenal. I tend to use this one card at a time though. So I feel like I might be limited to using it that way, kind of just by the nature of the greatness of content. There's so much in each card that, like, the way I read when I make a mountain of cards doesn't really work with this, so I kind of have to change my own personal reading style when I'm using this one, which is fine. I'm more than happy to do that, but it's a different reading experience, but it is for sure one of my all-time favorite decks and one of my most used ones this year for my own personal practice, I guess you could say, as opposed to like general tarot reading. Like don't read with anybody else for this one. It's just a me one. Because it's not my usual reading style, but it's lovely and amazing. It's beautiful, so good. But yeah, Odyssey Tarot. I've talked it up and down. We won't linger too long today. The other one, I am loath to speak about this because it's so special for so many different personal practice related reasons. So I'm just going to be very brief. Consider yourselves very lucky that I am sharing this with you right now. The other deck that I use the absolute most this year is the Gnostic Tarot. Also by Chris Leach of Welcome Press. Sorry, the beginning of this video is a little bit of a Welcome Press gush fest, but it is amazing and so good for so many reasons. It's, again, it's not the most conducive to my usual reading style of slamming cards down on top of each other in massive amounts because there's so much in the guidebook. Very psychological, very Jungian. Gnosticism is kind of thrown in there. You've got to have, not that you have to have, but like there's a respect for that way to analyze energy, I guess, within it. But all of its theming aside, just using it as a tarot deck, taking messages from it as a gift from the universe has been a treat and a joy and wonderful and so important. So important. I feel like I can't explain this one correctly. You need to experience it for yourself, find out its secrets on your own time. But just know for me, it's been profound is a word that's isn't good enough to describe what using this is like. So that's all I'm gonna say about that one. And I've already said too much. But yeah, the Gnostic Tarot has been amazing and so good for so many wonderful and amazing reasons. Moving swiftly into this one, technically I used the most because I used it for my year ahead spread as well as the next one. So like technically I used it all year. If we want to get technical about it, but the Marielle is a, you know, if you know, you know. Again, it's one you really have to discover on your own. Read the guidebook. Having some familiarity with Western esotericism, various mythologies, including Christian mythology. It's all in here. And it feels a kind of powerful that, I don't know if the word powerful, I don't like that word when describing tarot decks. It's an extremely handy tool that has been fine-tuned to a Western esoteric perspective, while also pushing the boundaries of said esotericism. I don't know, I feel seen by this deck a lot of the time, and it's so good and so wonderful. So yeah, this is one of the ones that I like technically use the most this year. So good. So I won't linger on this one too. This is the first edition, hence it's so huge. The second edition has a couple of changed cards, but it's just as good. It's just fine. Like I wouldn't worry too much about not having the first edition because they tend to go for too much money. But that's Marielle by Mary White. So good. Okay, next one was for my year ahead spread as well, and I talk about this one all the time. Like she's this is the Ritual Tarot by Tira May. She just is shipping out her Kickstarter for the Oracle deck, so I think it's arriving for people now. I haven't got it yet. Things have just not lined up, but it is on the list of things to maybe consider into next year. But I feel like my plans for next year when it comes to tarot are going to look a little bit different than usual. So we'll see. But this deck is amazing, and I use it for my year ahead spread. I tend to whip this one out for myself if I just want a quick reading. I don't know if you can see how loved it is. I've re-edged it 2 times. It got wet when I was traveling. So yeah, I don't know if you've ever had a tarot deck get soaked before. The cards all swell up. They poof. And then when they dry, they kind of go back to normal, but it's very scary when you see your wet deck and you're like, I've ruined it forever. It's it's terrible. But it actually, if you give it a second, just leave it out in the air, it will dry okay. But yeah, no, this one, it's been with me lots of places, and it is a comfort. And I need to remember to even though it's big and kind of heavy, like take it with me when I go places, 'cause I need it. It's like, it's a grounding home base for me, I guess, is the best way to say. So I don't know, I love it. It's so good. I know all the cards. The little guidebook is very helpful, but for me, this is incredibly intuitive, and that's just a me thing, and it's amazing. I love it. So Ritual Tarot will always be one that's important to me and ultimately gets used fairly frequently. Another one of the very predictable ones is the Davids of Creation by Scylla Conway. This is an oracle deck. I use this as an altar deck. Sorry, you guys can't see these very well at all. Oh my gosh, my first time. That one's been out for me for a while. The Shadow card. But it's a good weather vane deck. See what's up. See what the space weather is like. What the vibes floating around me. It's a good probe into the energies of life. And I can ask it questions, but I tend to, with this one, I tend to not use it for specific questions. I like a tarot for that. It will clarify okay, but I feel like I use this one. It's definitely more of an altar card deck, an oracle that one pulls daily draws with for me. And this is kind of how I like my daily draws. Big and vague, but not too vague. Mountain card. Saturn. Atom. Jupiter. That's the summer one. I think, oh, that's a Venus card. That one's stunning. Where's my favorite? There it is, the cave card. That's my favorite card in the whole deck, actually. Love it. I feel like I might have been a hermit, like one of the kind of hermits that lived in a hermitage in a past life. Wouldn't be surprised. Virgo moon. Anyway, okay, so that's that one. Another deck that I used the most in 2024, that particular solar cycle. Rider-Waite-Smith will always be showing up in one form or other, but I think this year Dark Side Tarot took it. And this is a trimmed copy. It had gray borders on it. I trimmed it down. It's in kind of like the thick papery Lo Scarabeo cardstock that comes in like the top close boxes, even though this was in a different kind of box, but that's the kind of cardstock it was. So it shuffles. It's not the most pleasant shuffle in the world, but it works. And it's on RWS, so, but with like darker not themes, but just tones, you know? It's like there's a shadow cast over it, which is how I feel a lot of the time. I may come across as quite bubbly, but really on the inside, this is it. Yeah. So this was probably the RWS that I used the most. I do have a Radiant Rider. No, Universal. One of the two. A mini one in my purse, which I use sometimes, but there's another travel deck I use more, just when I'm generally out and about. But yeah, for just doing Rider-Waite-Smith readings for myself, this is the one I used the most this year. The guidebook, Barbara Moore. The artist is Corrado Roy, the same artist who did Murder of Crows Tarot, so you can kind of see the similarity in the artwork and the vibe of it. But oh, this one is one of my favorites, and one of the ones I consequently used the most this year. So he's my buddy and lives in this adorable little Krista bag, which matches quite nicely the monochromatic themes, which is getting a bit loved. But excellent. Okay. The next one that I used the most this year is in this. This is a new case, because the bag it was in broke because I carried it with me too much. All the sewing came out of it and it just fell apart. It wasn't made by anybody. It was just a cheap one. Actually, I'll show you. It's right here. Just in case you're like, who made a bag that fell apart? Nobody we know. I think it just came from the dollar store. But yeah, it absolutely fell apart because it went with me everywhere. So I need to sew that back together. But for now, it's in this cute little leather tarot case, which when I found it, I was like, wow, that's amazing. My beads are in it right now. And here she is. It's the Ashura Tarot by Sarah Wheatley. This is an indie deck that's a print-on-demand deck that you can get at Game Crafter, I believe. Ooh, I think that's right. I'll link it down below, like a good YouTuber. But this is one of my favorite, well, it is. This is the one I use when I'm traveling, when I'm out and about. It's just the perfect little pocket size. It's a little bit thothy, but it's its own thing. In my brain, the Ashura Tarot is the Ashura Tarot. And it kind of, I don't know. It's just, it and me are buddies. We're friends. I know, I speak its language. It speaks mine. We get on really well. Like you can, I don't, just the way the color and the composition, you really get the feel of what the card means quickly just by looking at it. It's upside down. Two cups, little fishies. Yeah. Oh, it's, yes. Yeah, one of my faves. So, had to talk about it again. I'm so predictable. Like, I guess it's good that when I know I like something, I like it and I use it, but it makes these videos weird to film because I'm like, I feel like I just talk about these same decks all the time. But they're my favorites for a reason. Okay, and then quickly we will dip into when Olga speaks in a little bit more detail because she deserves it. She does. She's so good. It's an amazing Johnnicky bag as well. These are amazing. Reclaim Sari Silk. Her Etsy shop is phenomenal. Definitely check it out if you're in need of some like luxe tarot and oracle bags. So this is the Make Playing Cards version of When Olga Speaks. I'll go all the way in. There's a Kickstarter version of this coming right now. It'll be on thicker matte cardstock. The colors will be a bit more saturated and brighter, but I think honestly it's the content for this. It's a hand-cut collage using old-time magazines from the 60s and 70s, and it's perfect. I really want to pair it with the Aquarian Tarot, actually. I feel like it would, or the Morgan Greer, like just kind of like go temporally with that in a fun way. But the way it reads in a string of cards or just by pulling individual ones as clarifying, or just if you have a question, pose it to this deck and pull a couple cards. It's really good. It took me a while to get to know it on its terms because it doesn't match me perfectly. So like this card, that's Meteora. I've been there. It's so amazing. This deck doesn't match me and my experience perfectly, but that's not to say that using it is a very deep and profound experience. So that's something to say, like, I don't know, not necessarily. The decks you use don't have to be perfect reflections of how you feel about yourself, especially if you want to explore that self in a new way. So, I don't know, highly recommend this one. Definitely check it out if it feels like something that you would enjoy using. And as I said, there's about 10 days left of the Kickstarter right now. Oh, little pansy flower. Yeah, it was a labor of love. Like, she put her whole heart, soul, body. It's all of these images in the back are items that represent her relationship with her grandmother, who is Olga, when Olga speaks. It's very good. This for ancestor work if you want to use it, but even it kind of transcends the bounds of that context as well. That card is so good. Yeah, no, it's a delight. So that's one that did get a lot of use this year also. Another oracle deck that I couldn't get out of my hands is the Sacred Destiny Oracle by Denise Linn. My goodness, this is just a little Hay House oracle deck that, like, when I bought it, I didn't expect that much from it, right? I was like, it looks cute, let's try. But it matches so many I'm shocked at how many different styles of tarot deck this matches. It is beautiful. It is stunning. It is clear. You don't need the guidebook. Like, I never used the guidebook. There's a bit in there, but it's just the images and the word are all you need. That's all you need out of a tarot deck. Or an oracle deck, sorry. I don't know, like, I thought it was cheesy, but I think, like, it's not. I think it's good. I'm gonna change my mind on saying it's cheesy. I think it's just good when it comes to oracle decks. Yeah, oh, it's... Since the day I got it years ago, it's on point. The messages hit in a way that I don't know. I can't explain. But I love it and I use it all the time, and it was one of my most used decks this year. Who would have thought? Yeah, Sacred Destiny Oracle by Denise Lynn. A surprise this year. For sure. There it is. That was the one. That one showed up for me at a very interesting, specific time. Anyway, super fun. Boop, 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 boop. All right. Is this? I think I'm gonna keep this pretty concise because I could keep talking and then like we would just talk about most of them because I do tend to rotate through my decks quite a bit, which is I think something I want to make a point to change about next year. Because it was, other than the ones I wrote down, I feel like I pretty quickly, I wrote down these ones, I pretty quickly cycled through in a really like regular way in an effort to make my way through them. But I think next year, my plan is to just, you know, feel it out. Use what I'm going to use. Don't like make a concerted effort to do anything, you know? And we'll see how that goes. But, yeah, it'll just be a different perspective. Kind of fun. This is the last one. This is the Stretch Tarot. J.E. Stretch. Amazing deck. This is one of the more magic decks out there. And if I had a question that was actually very pressing, that I needed to know, I needed truth, I needed perspective, I needed something grounded also that wasn't too up in the clouds or too like wibbly. This deck could do it. This one is so good. This is an amazing tarot deck. It's an indie deck as well. It is available on Make Playing Cards as well, but it comes in a box. I think you can get it in a tin also, but there's a little keyword on each of them that occasionally mirror the Hermetic titles. Sometimes they go their own way, which is totally fine, but nothing that I'm upset about, but it's really good. And this is one of those ones that is almost spooky when you use it. I've seen it used through various other channels. Other people have used it, and it's, you know, it works for everybody. Unless it doesn't work for you, and I don't know. I'm sorry, but like, I don't know. If you're into this kind of photo collage style, if you can get on with it, or if you like it, this kind of deck is so, it's magic. I don't know how. I don't know why. I can't say why. I don't know anything. I'm just a little girl. I just know that when I use this, the messages I get are clear. The cards that come out are surprising and shocking, but in a totally understandable kind of way. Love it. And it's on nice, thin, flexible Make Playing Cards cardstock, so it's a beautiful shuffling experience. Yeah. One of the most used this year as well. Actually, let's just give it a little shuffle. Look at that. Like butter. Amazing. So yeah, Stretch Tarot. One of the more used ones this year. And I guess I have to say, because I do, mind you, I used it less than I usually do. This one. You know what it is. Do I even need to open it up? The Hellenic Oracle. And I guess I can say I used it all year. It was again in my year ahead spread, and I kind of referred back to the energy of each card that was pulled per month as kind of a starting point for that month. However, when it comes to just personal readings for myself, I used it less than I have in the past. Like I kind of, it was not necessarily quartered off to my year ahead spread, but I feel like I just was trying to get my hands through so many other ones this year that, and I feel like maybe the atmosphere of the decks that I was choosing were a bit different, and having already the energy of the Odyssean Tarot every week. So a lot of Greek mythology, right? So I didn't want to overdo it, right? And I don't like, so this is a me thing as well. I don't like mixing together decks that have similar energies. So like I don't pair this with the Odyssean Tarot because there's overlap, right? I don't want the opportunity unintentionally to pull two of the same deity, right? I don't want two Zeuses. Don't want two Prometheuses. Don't want two Hecates. Don't want two Apollos, you know? And I feel like the energy of them is kind of different between them, so there has potential for conflict. So when I use this, I use it by itself or with like a neutral tarot deck, or just, you know, keep the theming of Greek mythology to a minimum and just keep it as its own individual little vibe, because it is its own little thing. It's its own little world, cohesive world. That's why pairing's so hard, right? Like you can think, oh, these two have the same theme, they should go together, like this tarot and this oracle deck, but too much of the same thing is also non-congruous, right? So you gotta be smart about it. Pairing is an art. People who are good at pairing, I can think of a few of you amazing YouTubers out there who are good at pairing tarot decks. It's harder than it looks. It looks easy because you've already done the work of finding them, and then you show them and people are like, yeah, of course those go. But to find those pairs in the first place, it takes a lot of trial and error. Anyway, this is the Hellenic Oracle. I'm sorry I didn't say what it was because I feel like I've talked about it so much and I feel like I kind of want to stop talking about it. This is one that's available on Make Playing Cards as well. It's a print-on-demand indie deck, curated by yours truly. Actually, you know what? She's been out for 3 years. 3 years? 3 years. This has been available for 3 years. Wow. What is time? That's absolutely insane. So yeah, I think I've come to a point where I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm just going to use it on my own. There's a ton of content on it throughout the history of my channel and others. So I think it's time to just let it be. So this is a little swan song farewell to me talking about it, but I'm going to use it myself, obviously. But I don't, you don't want to, not that the horse is dead, but like, you don't want to keep beating the horse, as the saying says, which is a terrible saying. You need a new saying. Is there another equivalent to beating a dead horse? Because I don't really like that one. But anyway, the Hellenic Oracle. Over 100 cards of mythological goodness for all of your oracular needs. I used the bananas out of this year, kind of. Not the bananas out of, less than usual, but yeah, super fun. Okay, I'm gonna leave that at a video. Thanks so much for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. It's been quite the year. It's been an amazing time. It's been a very, maybe I'll talk about the year in a different video. That's not what this one is. Today we're just looking at decks. So we will do an in-depth analysis of the past year in another video when I get to, maybe the between Christmas and New Year's. That'll be when that will happen. But yeah, many thank yous. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have any questions about any of the decks I've been talking about, if I talk too quickly through them or mumbled, which I do sometimes, just leave me a comment. That's definitely fine. And I will list as many of them as possible in the down bar for you if you are curious. But I hope you have a fantastic Yule. Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. All the best in the new year. I'll probably talk to you before then, but either way, I hope you're good. I hope you're happy. I hope you find joy in all of the little things, because that's what matters. Ciao.